Good morning, all. First, I want to say I'd much sooner be using that power saw over there than standing in front of all of you people, because this is not my forte, but I'll do the best I can. My wife made this presentation, so hopefully that'll make it much better for us all. Eastern Woodlot Owner of the Year 2025. This here's the topics that we're going to cover in this presentation. They're the woodlot, the goals for life, and our woodlot forest resources, closes, statements, and recognition, and any questions that you may have at the end. To the Eastern Nova Scotia Woodland Owner of the Year Award 2025 was an absolute honor for myself and my wife Jane. It has always been my dream that became a reality. Thank you to the committee who selected me, and to my wife Jane Ross MacEachern, who helps and supports me making the woodlot what it is today. Thank you very much to those people. The woodlot resources. This here is a picture of my father, who I give credit to getting me started in the woodlot industry. How the woodlot came about, it's part of the old homestead where I grew up. My father purchased it in 1959. His name was Vincent MacEachern. Growing up, there was 3 boys in the family, and yes, we were full of energy, lots of it, too much, not always in a positive way, but in a way that worked. So our father said to us, if you want to make money, go buy a power saw and you can cut whatever you want. It's yours. So I started working in the woods at a very young age and loved working in the woods and still enjoy it today. Current and future plans are to continue to improve and develop the property as we can afford to. Thank you for giving us more money for road grants. That's something we can always use. Encourage more diversity of plants and animals, and only cutting what is ready or needs to be cut. To continue to plant more trees, and to continue to plant more trees every year. These are our goals. In life, you have to develop resiliency. Continually overcoming challenges. Personally, I should know, now being part bionic man, having a steel rod, put in my leg from a hockey accident. I've had 2 hips resurfaced. I've had half a knee replaced. I survived cancer, and I got a rare neurological disorder and just been diagnosed with diabetes. I don't look at them as a handicap. I look at them as a challenge. You got to keep going. I compare being a woodlot owner as being the caretaker of life on your property. I continually work towards developing my woodlot to meet its full potential as we adapt to change over time. When managing my woodlot, I consider sustainability and work with Mother Nature provides, the weather and the climate changes. I have planted over 30,000 balsam fir trees and continuously plant 5,000 trees a year. I am now starting to diversify what I plant, hopefully to meet the challenges of climate change. We are now planting this year, well, we were going to last year, but it was too dry, so this year we hope to plant some Fraser fir, plant more oak trees, more apple trees, starting to consider some hardwood, fruit, and nut trees. When it comes to safety, we believe in being as safe as we can. And in our management plan, we have included roads as natural fire breaks. We have first aid kits on site, fire extinguishers. We also have 2 fire ponds. We also wear safety gear all the time. Have cell phones with you. They're a wonderful thing. They can be a pain at times, but you know, it's a lifeline, and that's why it's important to have it with you. Resilience. Oh, one sec. Catch up here. There we go. Pond maintenance, road building, and maintenance. When it comes to be resilient, you have to face challenges and keep moving forward by doing pond maintenance, road building, ditching, graveling, etc. Here, as you can see up there in the picture, I'm standing on top of a culvert that we put in a few years ago. There used to be another culvert that drained, but it drained before the pond and went down the same drainage ditch as the pond did. Well, we realized that in the summertime, that pond got low. By moving that culvert 200 feet, that pond now is full most of the year, which makes a big difference. And when you're building roads, my personal opinion is, and I looked in the pamphlet, and they agree with me, which is nice, make the road wide enough so it can dry out, take the extra money, put some decent ditches in, put some culverts, let the water flow where it naturally flows, and your road will last way longer and it'll cost you way less money in the long run. Resilience, some of the things we have to overcome. Being resilient is an important part of life and skill that we need to successfully in forestry. As changes occur, we need to adapt our practice to meet the needs. First thing I had to overcome was fear of ticks. I hate them things with a passion. And years ago, I ended up down west, and I didn't know what was going on. I got back in the truck, and I feel something crawling up the back of my neck. And it was like, what in the world is this? That was my first introduction to ticks. Hate them, wish they never existed. However, we have to deal with them, we have to work with them, and move on. We have to deal with climate change. We have to deal with droughts, flooding, insects, root rot. Being resilient means you've got to deal with what Mother Nature gives you, make the best of it, and you will be successful. Look at it as a challenge. To be resilient, you need to make things work for you. We use a shed for safety storage of gas, oil, and a place to sharpen saws. We use our camp as a place to get out of the weather, to cool off in the summer, to get warm in the winter. It's also a place to bring family and friends so they can get our woodlot and experience what we experience as well. If you look at the camp and the shed, they're both built in the 90s. That's when we cut the wood off the property. So when we cut the wood off the property, well, I cut the wood off the property, a contractor do it. We saved a lot of logs for ourselves, and we said, okay, what are we going to do with it? I said, I want a camp. So we built the camp. Did it turn out exactly how I planned? No, but it works. So that's the main thing. Everything that went into those two buildings, other than the windows, doors, and the plywood, came off the property. And so to me, that's wonderful. And this here is a picture of an old tree that is down in front of our camp, down by the pond. We often get asked why we leave the old tree where it stands, and the answer is, it is resilient. It has seen more than we have in our lifetime, and even though it is getting old, we can only imagine the stories that tree could tell us if it could talk. We also know that the local eagles love to use it as a resting spot. And trust me, when there's water in the pond there, they rested there a lot. Trout in the pond, by the way, not water, sorry. Sustainability and management. We believe in having a sustainable woodlot and want to pass this forest resource on to future generations. We actively work independently with companies and associates to manage our property. Our management plan includes silviculture, commercial thinning, select cutting, vegetation management, cutting and spraying as needed. Activate annual diverse tree planting and land clearing only after hurricane damage. Sometimes when a hurricane comes through, you have to do what you don't want to do, but you got to do it. And as the need arises, cut the trees that mature. And one thing that we're doing this year that we're going to try for a change is we're going to try using a drone to do some work. And I mean, that's a big change for us, especially on a Christmas tree lot, to use a drone, because you're always fearful of, okay, is it going to do the right job or not? But hey, we have to change with times. We have to become more efficient in what we do. In our management plan, we also continuously work to maintain roads and sources of water on the property using grants from Forest Nova Scotia and our own money as we can afford it. We harvest patches of trees that need be, depending on the type of tree. Our woodlot management is done by our own independent work, but also at times in consultation with people like Sean, Adam, and Ryan, Scott, and Stuart, which helps a lot. There we go. Sustainability and management. I think an important part of sustainability and management for all of us is we don't really enjoy our woodlots at times. That's something we should do. We should enjoy them and be proud of them. And we should work to make them better. So part of our management staging plan includes finding time for enjoyment. We take time to walk the property and also hold an annual family and friend Christmas party in the camp. We bring everyone together to enjoy the woodlot and have a little fun, decorating a variety of trees for Christmas as you drive into the property. This is also good for one's mental health, which in turn makes long-term work on the property sustainable. And that's a picture of a tree going out the woods road. It's a spruce tree that we sheared up just so you enjoy it. This is a picture of inside the camp. As you can see, there's lots of people and lots of food, and it's enjoyable. We also at times have made videos on the different animal habitats on the property to share with students in schools that go along with the grade 4 science curriculum outcomes, as this promotes a better understanding for young people and ultimately, hopefully, a more sustainable forest for the future. My wife is a teacher, and during COVID, when they were teaching virtual, she went down to the property with me, and at times drove me a little crazy, wanting to see this, wanting to find this in the property, so she could take that back and relate back to the children. And I can tell you, when she came home, it was one of her most satisfying days after relating to children, that they got to see what really goes on in nature. Rather than see it in a book, here it is up front. You know, she ripped the stump apart, there's the ants going. And that meant a lot to the children, and it really, really sets home. Also, at our annual Christmas party, we started a tradition. You come there, you see a tree you like, take it home with you. Use it. Cut it yourself and have it, so you know you can put it up and enjoy it like we do. Okay? Our woodlot is a diverse woodlot, and we have many different types of plants and trees and animals. Here's just a few of the pictures on the tree. There's lichens there. I like this picture right there, the one in the middle, I guess you'd call it. It's a white birch and a yellow birch virtually growing together, coming out of the same stump, which is kind of unique to me. This is a patch of hemlock, which unfortunately is a beautiful tree, but in Nova Scotia it's really got an uphill battle with all the bugs and everything else and the wind damage, and we're hoping that patch will continue to grow and flourish and make the best of it. Okay. There's a wide variety of wildlife on our property, from plants to animals. We leave old trees that have holes for nesting birds and squirrels. We keep the fire ponds and protect the water sources from mammals, birds, fish, amphibians on the property. The old stump provides insects for ants and bees as well. The water sources provide a place for different plants to grow as well. Our mixed forest resource provides a wonderful habitat for plants and animals. We get to see some rare finds like lady slippers in the spring. I didn't know what it was. My wife told me what a lady slipper was when I just stepped on it. Don't you dare step there. But that was wonderful of her to do that. And the other thing is, you can see there's a picture of this year we have ducks nesting in the pond, which is wonderful. One habit that we practice, and it seems to work, is when we are cutting Christmas trees, if there's a nest in the tree, we'll take that nest out of that tree and put it a tree beside it. Because if you keep the birds coming back to your woodlot, personally, it's my personal opinion, no scientific information, I think it cuts down on your insects that are negative and can help with hopefully not having to spray in the future. Safety. Safety is an important part of the management plan on our forest resource. We always have safety tools and kits on hand. We believe in working together. Always communicate where you're going to be going to work and what you plan on doing and what you're using. We also have access to cell phones in case of emergency. We consider safety gear an absolute must all the time. We deliberately have a camp and shed on the property, not only to enjoy, but to make sure there's a place to protect you from the elements in case of an emergency. And on a personal note, I'm going to say here, I worked for Nova Scotia Power for more than years than I'll care to say, but their safety was the #1 priority, and that is something that I've tried to take from work to home and use it all the time. Because the most important thing for all of us is to remain safe so that we continue to do what we do, love, and enjoy. This is safety. This is as you can see, this is the property, a shot of from, I'm thinking Google Maps, I'm not sure. But we put lots of roads in so that there's natural fire breaks, hopefully, if anything were to ever happen. There's fire breaks. It's also, I find that if you have one big, massive woodlot, it's very hard to diversify between this, that, and the other part. If you split it up in blocks or sections, if you're doing work, it's much easier and safer. You say, I'm going to, well, prime example, you can see one road there looks like a horseshoe, poor looking horseshoe, but I'll say I'm going to the horseshoe. Jane knows exactly where I'm going to be, and that makes a big difference. Succession. It is our intention at present that our woodlot be passed from me to my wife if anything happens to me. Then when my wife and I have both passed on, it will be passed on to family and in trust for my children's children. My own children, Craig and Haley, have little interest in the woodlot and doing anything at it. And so, you know, they're at the age where I don't think they will. Hopefully, our granddaughter, you see a picture of there, maybe she will. But that's what our hope is, and that's our dream is. There will also be a stipulation that the woodlot must be maintained as a functioning woodlot resource. I hate to see, it bothers me, I see these beautiful woodlots cut down and their big subdivision there next week. And people don't understand what we have lost. It's great to see them staying the way they are. And here's the people I'd like to thank and recognize. Of course, my biggest thank goes to my father for inspiring me to have the freedom to explore my own passion, to develop a love of nature and the woodlot. I'd also like to thank my wife for her ongoing hands-on help and support, and who made the presentation. I'm just reading it because I couldn't do this. And thank you. And I'd like to thank my two cousins, Ron's Hydro Seeding and Wayne Chisholm Forestry. Ronnie's helped me with roads. Wayne's done some cutting for me. Forest Nova Scotia providing the grant money so we can build roads. This wonderful Scott Stewart for selling me trees, helping me plant the trees, and for their advice along the way. I'd also like to thank the Northeastern Christmas Tree Association because they buy our Christmas trees, which gives us money to put back into the property. And that's, you know, that's a huge help, and they're a great organization to work with. Natural Resources Nova Scotia. I'd also like to thank a true gentleman and friend of mine. I see his brother here, who has helped me over the years, who likes to remain anonymous, who his wisdom and perseverance, as much as mine perseverance, has been wonderful to get me to where I am today. And as well, I got to thank my father, my wife, my brothers, my stepsons, my cousins, and my cousins' children for all helping me out over the years. So in closing, if you have any questions, please ask.